Been thinking for the past couple of days, and I finally decided that I would be remiss if I did not make a video based on an 18-year-old topic. And being that it's 18 years old now, it means that it can legally do porn, which is appropriate because I plan to fuck this shit silly. And what I'm about to talk about is a conspiracy theory, meaning that I have a theory that there was a conspiracy, and all throughout this video, I'm going to give you the evidence showing how there must have been a conspiracy. The event in particular that I'm talking about is the controlled demolition of 3 buildings on the island of Manhattan 18 years ago. Recently, a report came out from University of Alaska that said that one of the buildings, Building 7, could not have fallen in the way that it was described. You know, I remember watching all this shit happen on TV as it was happening, and I could tell you back then with only a high school education that there was no way in fucking hell any of those buildings just fell naturally like that. I mean, if God existed and God came to Earth and God said to these buildings, I'm going to light you on fire and you're going to fall straight down, the buildings would have responded, nah, suck a dick, because that ain't gonna happen. So my response to this report that took 4 years to put together is no fucking shit. The organization NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology, I believe that stands for. I probably should have looked that up before I started this video, but I don't give a shit right now. Anyways, they said that the building collapsed due to a strange new phenomenon called thermal expansion. Apparently, no one at NIST ever realized that ice floats on water. If you've ever seen the pictures of the Oklahoma City bombing, you'll see that a huge chunk was taken out of a building due to an explosive. Not even that building completely collapsed uniformly. So we're all supposed to believe that a Class Alpha fire caused this shit to happen. Right. Let's talk about the other 2 buildings. The video we saw over and over again of the jets crashing into them. We're supposed to believe that the burning of jet fuel caused the structure to weaken to the point where the buildings pancaked on themselves and just flattened. First off, I'd like to know how the jet fuel got all over everything. Were there no walls on these floors? Did people that have to take a piss need to go to another floor? Did they have chamber pots? Was it nothing on these floors except for, I don't know, a wide open area and some girders in the elevator shafts? How did the jet fuel spread around so much? I mean, I know when I spill a glass of water on the floor, it immediately finds its way to all 4 corners of the room, as if by some strange magic, and levels out. So it must work the same way for jet fuel as it's on fire. By the way, that would have to have been a large amount of jet fuel in order to cover the entire floor so much that it got onto all those steel beams and girders and melted them. I guess none was used in the entire time the plane was flying. I also guess none of it burned up when the planes exploded as they crashed into the buildings. You know, those huge fireballs. But somehow, it must be that jet fuel only burns when it's on a girder. Still not going to believe that a Class Alpha or Class Bravo fire is going to cause that. If the buildings were going to collapse due to the impact and the subsequent burning, then they would have toppled sideways, not straight down. And thankfully, there was a brave group of individuals to point out this fact to every person around the world, subtly, by inventing a game. A game for families so they could all come together and enjoy themselves and see at the same time how the narrative on how the two towers fell was bullshit. And of course, the game I'm talking about is Jenga. Actually, I'm joking. I don't know anything about who made that or why, but yeah. Then, after all these buildings fell, there was a huge cloud of dust and fibers and body parts. And yet, the EPA said, oh, you know, the air is safe to breathe. You know, I didn't know shit about construction at that age, but I knew enough to know that asbestos was in those buildings. And asbestos, it goes into the air pretty easily and hangs around. Usually dust clouds like to hang around. You don't believe me? Look at all the smog that happens around a lot of polluted cities. And yet, the EPA said, go ahead, suck it in, the air is fine. If nothing else, that one thing has to tell you that the EPA would say something to the public that goes against all common sense, that something is wrong and you're being lied to. And of course, finally, the numerous amount of whistleblowers, including the 9/11 Commission themselves, who came out and said that we were being hampered by the presidency, the Bush administration, that it was loaded with people full of conflicts of interest, and even going so far as to writing a book on how fucked up the investigation was. And yet, we're supposed to not believe that there's some kind of conspiracy that happened, given all of this, all of these facts. This shit never added up. So, why did it happen? Why did these buildings get knocked down? And here's the part where I get to have fun speculating, because why the fuck not? Well, I think, for one, there was some money to be made. Want to knock down a couple of buildings, collect some insurance money, say it was terrorists? That's a possibility. Although I do have to wonder, why did we never hear anything about all of that? Why are all the court documents around all the cases surrounding 9/11 sealed? Even though there was all these lawsuits. What else? Well, obviously this was a conspiracy. Obviously it took a long time to plan. So who gained from it? That's the big question. Who gained from it? Like I said, I'm pretty sure there was some money to be made off insurance. Maybe not, wouldn't surprise me. But the bigger picture is that I think the whole event was a declaration of war. Not of terrorists declaring war on American values. Not of enemies of this country saying they want to see America fall. But I think it was a declaration of war of those with wealth and power declaring war against people like you and me. Look at how life has been since then. Patriot Act, censorship. Government helped institutions like Google, Facebook grow. I call them the Big Brother stocks. Facebook Apple, Google. I mean, Apple right now even has its own little credit score, just like in China, that you probably don't know about. The police have become militarized. You get jailed more and more for exercising your rights. What does this all tell you?